Hey folks, my guest today is Panos Siozos. He's the co-founder and CEO of LearnWorlds, a Cyprus-based e-learning company that's transforming self-paced learning through hassle-free textual and video-based learning. He co-founded the company in 2014 during a period which the economics of both Greece and Cyprus were not conducive to new ventures. LearnWorlds is now a multi-million-dollar SaaS company based in 70 countries with a team of over 30 employees. Panos, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
And in fact, we're even bigger right now. We're at 75 people right now and growing. So online courses are super hot. So the past few months have been amazing for us.
So how many customers do you have?
We have over 4,500 customers right now.
Okay, and what are they paying for?
We are a software as a service. People start by our lowest package is $29 per month, and you get a full-blown online school, which you can use to sell online courses. Our most expensive package is at $799 per month.
$799?
Yes.
What does the average customer pay per month?
Average customer is around 120 right now.
$120.
Mm-hmm.
Can I take 4,500 customers times 120? You're doing about $540,000 a month in revenue?
No, that's not precise. There are some other like lines of business, some mobile applications that we're selling and other stuff which make it slightly bigger.
Okay, so you're doing more than $500,000 a month in revenue.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. What's the backstory here? When did you launch?
We launched originally back in 2014. We have, as a team, 3 co-founders. We go way back in e-learning. I have a PhD in e-learning. So we started first working together as scientists within a university setting, creating platforms for the academia, publishing papers, but didn't have much entrepreneurial capacity or understanding back then. So after a few years of working in the academia and doing different stuff, we got together. We were really believing in the future of e-learning and that the future of learning is online, actually. So we wanted to create a platform that will take the state of the art of e-learning, the things that we were studying, and bring them at the hands of actual trainers and creators and folks who want to monetize their audience. This is how we started.
Mm-hmm. And tell me a little bit more about how you guys decided to split equity in the early days. It's always a tough conversation.
Well, for us, it wasn't a tough conversation. We've known each other for 25 years. We've done several projects, and we always, even when we were students, we had a joint pot. We were doing like projects and had a little piggy bank for purchasing books, going to conferences, doing even like fun stuff together. So we split evenly. That was a
so four co-founders. You each took 25%. Three. Okay.
We're 3 co-founders. We split evenly. In the first couple of years, we brought in our very first couple employees, and they got a very small part also of shares. We couldn't pay them proper salary back then. Nobody got a salary, so they also got into the business with some with some equity.
Understood. Now, if you're doing more than $500,000 a month today, what were you doing a year ago? So we can look at your growth rate.
In our growth rate in 2020 was about 200%. So we were already growing by about 100% per year before that. That was the average, I guess, of the entire online course industry. It's not just us, other businesses as well. But 2020, COVID has been a catalytic phenomenon. Overnight, all learning became online. People started to try to find the solutions to stay online, get in touch with their customers, get in touch with their students. They were trying to find emergency solutions. So it was obviously a breakout year for us. And the growth was about 200% for 2020. And it's continuing at a very high percentage.
So 200% year-over-year growth, and you're doing more than $500,000 a month today, would mean about a year ago you were doing, call it $250,000 per month in revenue, something like that?
I think it was less than that because the
less than that. Wow.
100, yes.
Okay, very cool. Now you talk to me a bit more about your team. There's 75 people today. Is that right?
Yes.
And what's the breakdown? How many engineers?
We got about 30 engineers overall, or in the product team, let's say, because they might include product managers and people who are or working also on the back end and DevOps and all this stuff. We have about 25 people that are working on customer support and customer success roles. Very few people that are on the admin. We're quite lightweight in terms of our processes because of all everything is super automated as much as we can. And the rest are marketing and sales people.
And Panos, how many salespeople do you have that carry a quota?
Right now, we have 5 salespeople.
5 sales reps. Very cool. And what is their quota?
This depends because we're working on different segments, different geographies. So it's not a unique number for all of them. And also, I would say that less than half of our pipeline comes through the salespeople. We're very much a product-led company. So more than half of our funnel is automated. People
understand that, Panos, but there's a lot of people with product-led growth that are trying to hire their first sales rep, trying to figure out what quota to put them on. So I'm trying to learn from you here. What quota did you give your first sales rep?
This is something that we cannot share, and this is something that, as I mentioned, depends on the geography. We have customers in over.
Where was the first geography you hired a sales rep for?
It was the US.
Yes. Okay. And how did you don't have to share the exact, I guess, quota if you don't want to share that, but what ratio did you have between like what the full on-target earnings a sales rep could earn relative to his or her quota?
It's about 50%. So it's 50% salary and 50% is the commissions.
No, my question is, how much higher is the quota target relative to what their full pay is if they hit quota?
It's about 50% higher.
So if I joined you today as your first sales rep, my full earnings would be about $200,000. If I hit a $250,000 quota or $300,000 quota, that's 50% higher.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you break that down because that's not how we calculated things initially.
That's Panos. That's what I want to learn. Give me the example. That's what I'm trying to learn here. You're making me work.
Yeah. In our case, since we are learning here, and the thing is, like when we got our first people, we didn't have fixed numbers. We created the numbers along with the people who got on board on sales. So it's a role that we didn't have before. Like the platform was selling itself, it was purely product led. So once we hired a few people, we started measuring what impact they had on the conversion rate, like how many of what percentage of the funnel wanted to be sold to, because not all of them want. And once we started getting this this boost that the salesperson would add into the funnel, the conversion rates, then we started negotiating with them the commission. So it was something that we built along. There isn't when you have a company that's learning and growing and the numbers are not stable, you don't go out with a specific quota. This is something that we created along with the sales people.
How many demo calls do you want your account executives doing today on a monthly basis?
Our account executives do about 20 calls per week. That's
per week. Okay, so about 8. So call it 80 per month. And how many do you hope they close?
We hope that they close around 30% of those.
Okay, got it. So 80 calls per week, 30%. Got it. So you're looking at like 20, maybe 20 new sales per month per rep, something like that.
Yes, but in our case, again, I guess this is unique for every company. With our with our customer lifetime value and average contract value, these are usually the biggest customers and the most the most complex product, the most complex cases, the most complex contracts, I would say.
What is your lifetime in dollars today?
Sorry?
What is your lifetime in dollars today? Lifetime value?
That's not something I can share. Let's say that as I mentioned, usually the people that go to our salespeople and want to be sold to and go through the sales process, usually they buy our middle plan, which is at $2,500 per year.
Panos, what I'm really getting to is product-led growth. Lifetime values really should be through the roof if they're sticky, right? If your product's keeping customers in it. So how sticky is your platform? What was churn over the past 12 months?
Churn is close to, the retention is close to 100%, slightly less than 100%. So it's not ideal. We are trying to get it with expansion that we are adding into the product. We're trying to get that above 100%, which obviously this is like an amazing scenario. We're close to that and working through the product to get to that level.
Just because we're short on time, I want to hyper focus just on churn. Before you add back expansion revenue to try and get above 100%, what is just gross churn before expansion?
Yeah, it's around 90%.
Okay, so retention annually is about 90%.
Retention, yes.
Got it. So you're churning 10% annually. You're then expanding another maybe 5%. So your net dollar retention right now is called like 95% with goals to get above 100.
Yes. And
I see.
As with any product, with the different plans, you have different retention rates.
Of course.
In our lower plans where you have newbies and people who are just starting out, for us the lower plans are effectively loss leaders. We're trying to give them an easy ramp into the platform, get them to start to use the tool and get into online courses. With the bigger plans, obviously you have bigger teams, SMBs usually, who have already huge content, huge audiences which you're trying to monetize. So the stickiness there is unique because once you load a few dozen thousand customers onto a platform, it's extremely difficult to switch to a different tool. So the stickiness there is almost 100%.
And Panos, have you and your buddies back from 2014, have you guys decided to bootstrap the company or did you decide to raise?
No, we raised. We had we were bootstrapped for several years. We had a small round of about 1 million euro 2 years ago. And just last week, we announced a funding round of $32 million with Insight Partners, who's an amazing partner for us. They've invested, now they're invested in Udemy, Pluralsight. In the past, they had invested in Twitter, Shopify. So they know both e-learning and e-commerce very well. And we find them amazing partners for funding and continuing the next chapter of our growth.
You've decreased your optionality by raising 32 million from someone like Index. You really have one path, and that is growth at all costs. In other words, you and your buddies couldn't sell the business now for $100 million and take $30 million paychecks and go sail off into the sunset. Why did you decide to decrease your optionality by raising from a traditional VC like this?
First of all, it's Insight Partners. It's not Index.
Insight.
So it's not a traditional VC where
Insight's a traditional VC. Insight Ventures is a very large traditional VC firm.
And private equity. So their goal is not always growth at all cost. They can be very patient in their investments. They hold investments for several years. So it's not and the goal here is to create a multi-billion-dollar business. The potential now in e-learning is absolutely immense. Everybody through this past year, everybody has realized that the future of learning is online. We see.
Is that true? Is that true? Or was that because COVID, that was the only option? And so everyone saw artificial growth numbers.
Well, this is something that I've studied it was also part of my PhD. This is something that we have been studying for years. E-learning always was a revolution, always 5 years ahead. So you never saw the true potential of e-learning. Always something was missing. 20 years ago, it was bandwidth. 15 years ago, it was something else. What has happened now was totally catalytic to how ingrained e-learning is to everything we do. Just to give you a small example, a few months ago, through the pandemic, about 1.7 billion students were using one form or another of remote learning, either fully online or
Panos, because they have to. Schools were closed. My question is simply, in a world where COVID doesn't exist, does e-learning keep growing as fast as it did the past 12 months? I think it's a very valid, fair question.
It's a great question. And it's a question that we always try to validate every day. For us, it's clear, and for our customers, it's clear. And even as COVID subsides, we've seen that the trend continues. There is no future, at least in the next 2, 3, 4 years, without COVID, that a business that wants to train 400 employees, we'll get them into a hotel for 5 hours of PowerPoint. There will be a riot. People, businesses, and professionals have discovered there are so better ways to learn, much more efficient, much more effective from the comfort of your house without breaking the bank. Being able to learn skills at a more interactive, more engaging way with better user efficiency. That's something that people realize, and we see that the trend continues even this year, despite all the extra outbreaks of the pandemic.
Yeah, well, listen, I sure hope the growth obviously continues. You've raised capital now. You can really get creative with future product development. Now, with the 32 million, was all of that going into the business, or were you guys able to offer some early liquidity to early employees you brought on who were incentivized with equity?
Well, there was some like we had an early investor. Not all of it goes into the business, but so there is some distribution with this funding.
That's great. And look, sometimes when folks like you and your buddies get, 5-10 million, out of a round, it enables you to say, you know what, I'm good. I'm set for life. Now I can go for the billion or multi-billion-dollar business. The reason I bring that up is because, again, you can't now sell for $100 million, right? You may have done that 2 years ago and you would have made a bunch of money. You can't do that now because liquidation preferences, right?
That wasn't our objective to ever sell and go out of the business. We are feeling very passionate about what we do. We've been dealing with e-learning for the past 25 years, and we found ourselves for the first time at a position where we have not only the vision and the plan about what to do, but also we have the resources. So a few years ago, when we were a bootstrap company, we were trying to implement the state of the art, what we had in mind, with very limited resources and with lots of obviously compromises at everything we did. Now we found ourselves in a position where every day it's an amazing experience to be able to help people all over the world launch amazing online courses, launch amazing learning experiences, get lots and lots of money out of what they're launching, be able to escape 9 to 5, create their own business, create their own space in the world, and be successful. So for us, this is a dream come true, actually. So with the right resources and with the right partner, obviously boosted by the tailwinds of COVID, which will hopefully go away soon, this gives us a great platform to build on top, create an amazing product, and help as many people as possible discover what is possible with online courses.
Panos, when you announced the deal last week, so you raised $32 million, what valuation did you raise on?
That's not something that we can announce. That the investors wouldn't be happy with that.
It's well known. Most Series A's, you're selling 10 to 20% of the business. Is it fair to say you were sort of in that average range?
Well, it's not too far off. So Insight invested 32 million for a minority stake in the business. Let's keep it at that.
Fair enough. All right, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite book?
Ooh, it's a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Number 2, is there a founder you're following or studying?
A founder that I'm studying.
Or CEO?
Not particularly. Okay. I'm always amazed by the job that the guys over at Stripe are doing, and also with Toby Lutke over at Shopify. These are some great cases, but we always try to forge our own path in what. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building the business besides your own, obviously? I think I have to say Zapier. It's something that can really, it's like the glue of the internet. We just launched also an amazing integration with them. And we see also from our customers that it's one of the tools that it really saves them lots and lots of time from them and from their VAs. It's an amazing tool.
And how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Hours of sleep? Ooh, yep. I would say now with the funding and everything, I would be happy to get about 5. But that's not our normal, that's not viable, obviously, from the long term. So hopefully now that we have announced and we're going back into like getting out of the fundraising mode and going back into building mode and expanding, hopefully things will be much better right now.
How long were you in fundraising mode? How long did the full process take? From first calls to term sheet to closed?
It took us about 7 months, but not because just with this investor. We had been flooded by incoming requests from VCs. Everybody was looking into online courses. I would never imagine that we would be in such a position, like to fend off VCs beat them back with a stick. So in the past few months, we talked with I guess over 60 of the top VCs in US and Europe. We were trying to find the right. I discovered, I didn't know that money can be had cheaply, like investments can be found. We weren't in such position before COVID. E-learning wasn't as sexy. There were lots of investors around, but overnight, e-learning became something like AI plus Bitcoin, whatever. Everybody wanted.
What month did you sign? What month did you sign the term sheet in? How many months ago was that?
Term sheet was around April. So
okay, got it. So not too many. That's actually pretty quick then. Not too bad there. Last set of questions here. What's your situation? Married, single, kiddos?
Ooh, I'm married with a daughter.
Very cool. And how old are you, Panos?
I'm 44 by now.
44 years young. Last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Something you wish you knew when you were 20 years old.
Well, not much. I think I knew the things that I had to know for that were good enough for that part. Probably if I knew some things earlier, I wouldn't have been the same. So I'm not trying to change anything in the past.
Guys, there you have it. LearnWorlds. They were doing $200,000 a month last year in revenue. Now well over $500,000 a month in revenue. Crazy growth rate. They help you create and sell online courses from your own website. Over 4,500 customers today who pay on average $120 a month. They just broke, call it $6.5 million in terms of run rate as they look to continue to scale with a new $32 million in funding. Panos, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks, Nathan, for having me.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers. They try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.